Crucible, downtown Kansas City, and it is quarterfinal action coming your way. Hilton South in full effect as the Cyclone fans are here, but so are the BYU fans. It's the 4 seed and the 5 seed, Iowa State and BYU. This is the Phillips 66 Big 12 Men's Basketball Championship. And inside T-Mobile Center, the first of 4 games, Iowa State taking on BYU. Is hun for Iowa State, and for the first time ever, Lipsey will not start. And for Keshon Gilbert, he is out with that lower body injury. So we'll see how Iowa State is able to handle it. They're going to need other guys to step up, like, say, Joshua Jefferson, who was really good against Cincinnati.
Tremendous, and he is a playmaking big man, so that will help TJ Otzelberger's team. Let me say this about Lipsey. He was not first team all-league this year, but to me, he's one of the 5 most valuable players in the entire conference, and I think many coaches in the league would second that.
So you see Lipsey, the kid from Ames, on the bench, and immediately will start to heat up that leg and groin area. And the starters for Iowa State, it'll be Heisey, Jones, Jefferson, Momcilovic, and Jackson. Deshaun Jackson will jump it up for the Cyclones. And we'll go up against Keba Keita as Kip Kissinger gets set to throw it in the air. And we're underway in Kansas City. BYU controls.
You're going to see a lot of sneaky NBA-type sets today from BYU, looking for the mismatch.
Jumper is good as Trevin Nell knocks it down. They got a number of guys that can really shoot.
They're very versatile, John, on offense. Shooting, driving it, throwing it inside.
So here's Curtis Jones, who normally comes off the bench. Mawut Mag is on him there. Meanwhile, inside, it's Jackson, and he draws the foul.
And Deshaun Jackson was very good yesterday. His intensity level, to me, has been raised over the last couple weeks.
10 and 15 for Jackson against Cincinnati. In the first matchup, he dealt with some foul trouble, did not score against BYU in that double overtime thriller. This is an Iowa State team that when their offense is right, they get to the line a ton. We'll see how that works out for BYU as the season has gone on. Their defense has improved.
The other thing you love about BYU, John, is they get up and down the floor, and they do not mind shooting good shots quickly.
Mag handling here. Saunders absorbs the contact, flips it up and in. And Richie Saunders, his progression year to year, 5.5 points as a freshman, 9.6 last year. And he continues to get better and better, averaging 16 a game this year. Keita. There's the kick out, and Jefferson straight on, knocks it down. They're going to need some of that.
I think so. He's not super efficient yet, but the shot looks good, and he's going to have to be aggressive.
Almost a takeaway from Heisey. Saunders gets it back. His pass that was intended to go opposite, kicked off the rim. It's Iowa State the other way. Jones at the basket. Too strong, and it rims out.
Keep your eye on number 3, Tamin. He is a great passer.
And Mag from the corner. That's another thing that bears watching. The corner 3 is something they like to shoot. Not just the 3, but specifically the corner 3.
Well, that's because their coach came from the NBA where it's high percentage.
Keita rebounds the Iowa State miss. Nell to the corner. Saunders. Tip wouldn't go, and eventually Deshaun Jackson pulls down the rebound over Keita.
Great matchup here, Mag and Jones. Mag is a stopper.
Jackson off the feed from Jones. And Iowa State within one. The first time these two teams got together, they were pitching a shutout for about the first 5 minutes. It was 0-0 about 4:45 into the game. Mag will try and hit. And they are red hot so far from 3. Moet Mag.
If you're going to draw up a 3 and D guy in the Big 12, it would be Moet Mag.
Moet Mag, who hails from Africa, grew up in Australia, as Momcilovic is off the mark. Mag goes baseline. He's cut off. It looked like he was throwing it to you.
Over and back.
And that's over and back. And Brooks Wells on the call. So is Fran Fraschilla.
Now, this young man has been in the starting lineup 16 games now. It's changed the direction of their team because he gives you great defense and catch and shoot ability. John, they are 13-3 with Moet Mag in the starting lineup.
Tamin Lipsey still on the bench. And Kate Kelderman has checked into the game. That tells you something about just how available Tamin Lipsey is in this one, I think.
There's no question about it. We thought yesterday and this morning that Tamin would play and give it a shot. And maybe he will. Keep in mind now, as important as the Big 12 tournament has always been to the Cyclones, they've won it 5 times in the last decade. They're also thinking about what's in store Sunday night when we have selection shows.
Jefferson not able to hit the first. Joshua Jefferson had 19 and 8. There's Kelderman, a dozen games, 39 total minutes. And here they are in effectively an elimination situation in the quarterfinals. And he is out there less than 4 minutes into the game.
And he's guarding a future lottery pick.
Yegor Tamin.
He's a good high school player, Kate Kelderman, out of the Des Moines area. Oh boy. I know there was contact, but great rotation.
Break of the action, and our under 16 timeout. BYU leading it 11-8. Quarterfinal number 1. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. And Fairlife. Enjoy great taste and nutrition with Fairlife Ultra Filtered Milk. Trailing by 3, a live look at TJ Otzelberger. Moments ago, though, urging on his team and talking about physicality.
Everything physical. Here's my thing. When we've done that, we got stops. We're hitting bodies on everything. As soon as we can reestablish a collision, you're the spy, hit again. You pick up the ball, hit again. Hit on the glass. Everything.
You will hear the words collision and disruption as much from TJ Otzelberger as any words. It is just something they emphasize over and over and over again. Obviously on the defensive end, but even on the, obviously on the defensive end, yes, but even on the offensive end.
We saw that yesterday with Tamin Lipsey. His drives to the basket always create contact. It's reminiscent of, a guy that's in the stands for BYU, Andy Reid, but a little different sport.
Yep.
Absolutely. Tamin Lipsey missed right now because of that physicality.
Hall picks it up and kicks to Yegor Tamin. Saunders down, shot clock winding down. Tamin got it. Another 3. That's their 4th of the game.
A lot of people don't think that's his strength, John. There's nothing wrong with that jumper. Only 28% on the season, but When he makes that, the future gets even brighter for the young man who's going to be a first-round pick.
ESPN has him as the number 10 prospect in the draft right now, Yegor Demin.
I'll say this about him. He's the best passer for his age in the world right now.
Jefferson inside, left-handed, it'll go. The big body wards off the defender. He's got 6. Hall inside, Traore the layup, and 1.
That was a terrific cut from the top of the key. We've been talking about baseline drives so far in this tournament, and you've got to make yourself available when you see that ball go baseline. Find an opening. Take a look. Watch Traore right to the circle, and then the finish. He catches the defense napping a little bit. Good cut by the young man from Mali.
Traore does something good. One of the things you'll hear in the background, the BYU fans, they're not booing, they're not even shouting for boog, they're foosing.
Exactly. And what you love about him is he's made over 60 starts in his career, this year coming off the bench. A deep team, John, as we pointed out already.
Elderman to Chatfield. And a soft jumper, and that'll go. The kid who transferred from Seattle and gives them good energy off the bench.
And we've seen a lot of substitutions already for BYU. What's that shot?
Saunders wide open and buries it. Another 3, and BYU off to a red-hot start from beyond the arc. Well, Fran, in the open, you talked about this being the most efficient offensive team BYU has ever had. Heisey aggressively to the basket. Kelderman collects and knocks it down.
He was a very good high school player in the state of Iowa.
And that has gotten the fans going for Iowa State. Jefferson thought about it, and it's taken away. Hall, kick out Saunders, catch and shoot. And Heisey pulls down the rebound.
That's how BYU plays. They will take the first good to great shot. They do not mind pushing it and running.
Heisey will try. And that one way off. Polskovich pulled down that rebound. He's into the game as Hall goes to work on Jones. Traore set the screen. Saunders at the basket, and a foul on the floor, and they'll get Kelderman with that foul.
Let's go back, John, and watch how quick this release is for Richie Saunders. Up and out quickly, and then Kelderman, the walk-on from Waukee, Iowa, deep range, knocks it down. Played in a couple state tournaments, and you love those guys who make your team better every day in practice, and now he's getting a chance to show what he can do.
His first 3 of the year. Chris Button, what do you have?
Yeah, you heard the roar from the fans from the local Iowa kid who turned down multiple offers at the Division II level to come as a walk-on and play for the team that he grew up rooting for and wearing the colors. He actually turned down an offer at Northwest Missouri State, where his sisters currently play.
Yes, twin sisters on the basketball team. Hall picks up his dribble. Traore inside, going to work on Jackson. High off the window and in.
When you have a guy coming off the bench with this kind of experience, it tells you how much depth the Cougars have.
Still no Tamin Lipsey. Keshon Gilbert is out for this game for Iowa State, so they are shorthanded. Cyclones down by 7. Jackson kicked out. Got to get something up here. Jones fires. And BYU the rebound. That one's deflected. Hall kicks to the corner. Dawson Baker. Well, that corner 3 has already been a factor
And John, let's talk about that, because Kevin Young, coming from the NBA, that's the shortest three in basketball. So the analytics tell you that's a great shot when open.
And loose ball. And a collision down on the court.
Kevin Young told us before the game that Dawson Baker could be a starter on most teams in this league. Coming off the bench, former Big West Rookie of the Year. These guys have depth.
The ball and deliver it for a three. And so far, well on their way to their averages in both threes a game and assists. BYU leading it by 10, and they have the ball. John Shelby, Fran Fraschilla, and Chris Button. Traore gets bounced, and he's fouled. And that foul on Deshaun Jackson.
They were coming with the double team from the weak side, but Deshaun fouled Foose before the defense teammate, the defense, can get there.
Traore here with Jackson on him. Kick across, Hall. Baker goes at the basket, and it's rejected. Heisey bounce pass. Jefferson the stuff.
Oh, that was a terrific read by Nate Heisey. He waited for Jefferson to get open and put it right on the money.
Well, the presidents, as they call him, Jefferson and Jackson, with 12 of Iowa State's 17. They still trail it by 8.
I think you're going to have to take away the three-point line and force that ball to the paint.
And another three. This one off the mark. Jefferson rebounds.
Looks to me, John, like Jefferson's going to be the point forward today.
Momcilovic, she's been quiet so far. Step back, and that'll go.
Trey Stewart's in there for defense, but there's a size advantage that Momcilovic had.
And here come the Cyclone fans. Cut to the goal, loose ball. And they'll go possession arrow. It belongs to Iowa State.
Watch the break right here. Great bounce pass. Terrific finish. And then Momcilovic, he's got this fadeaway down pat. Watch. Away from the defense. Great touch. Good footwork. And who loves it?
The presidents.
Yes, sir.
25-19. Milan Momcilovic to inbound. When Momcilovic was out following that hand injury, they really missed his offense. There's Jones with the floater, and all of a sudden Iowa State within 4. Saunders kick to the corner. And Saunders picks up the rebound. Jefferson steps in the passing lane and intercepts.
In that last game, BYU turned it over 29 times.
And still won in double overtime. It was a remarkable game. Scoring drought early. And they get the foul on BYU. Kip Kissinger.
Watch this little floater by Jones. He's going to use Chatfield to run interference, and he really is good on the run. And this is, I think, the second foul.
It is. It's the second foul on Richie Saunders.
No, Richie's complaining, but he violated the cylinder, and that would have been a foul call on him anyway. He wants the, the contact was up by his neck, but he was in the cylinder of the offensive player.
So 2 fouls, and Kevin Young keeping him in there. And that is a deep 3 for Jones. And rebounded by Dimon. Yegor Dimon kicks Saunders way downtown. Mag trying to save it. And it'll be Iowa State basketball. Well, BYU 23-8. One of the things that bears watching for Kevin Young's team, they are 18-1 when they score 80 or more. They are 5-7 when they score under 80.
I like it. I like it. It behooves Iowa State to make this a fist fight and a grinded out game. Mag on Jones. That's the matchup right now. Trying to keep Curtis from doing what he's done all season.
Well, Gilbert puts it on the floor and has it blocked. It was Cato who rejected it. Kelderman gets a piece of the paint. Got to get something at the basket. Jones fires and hits. Curtis Jones, the Big 12 Sixth Man of the Year. And Iowa State on a 9-0 run. Lob. And that'll go. Well done by Keba Keita. Collected it and put it home. Jones from deep. Oh, he's feeling it. Curtis Jones with 8. And he's knocked down a couple of big threes, and he's gotten this crowd going. Hilton South in full effect. Right side three, and that'll go. The answer from Trevin Nell.
What an answer that is. Great ball movement, and these guys play with no conscience. Open, let it fly.
Lob here, Chatfield off the glass and in. The feed from Joshua Jefferson. Saunders back the other way. That's to the corner and Mag.
Got to keep pressure on Demon because he's got great vision, but you can't foul him.
Foul on Jones. That will be his first. We get a good one here in Kansas City. Back and forth we go.
Well, we've seen this all season. First team all conference. Curtis Jones.
Out with an apparent ankle injury. Duke and Georgia Tech going at it right now on ESPN. Still to come, Wake Forest and North Carolina. Hubert Davis's team right there on the edge of the bubble. Saunders, little floater on the baseline. Nice move.
He's got a lot of weapons, John. It's not just the shooting. He's attacking the basket.
I thought Kevin Young summed him up well. He said most guys that play as hard as he does and play like him don't shoot that well.
Yeah, exactly right. He's high on his future in the NBA someday. Maybe not this year.
Kevin Young should know. Momcilovic. That's a three and it'll go.
He has completely revamped his offensive confidence.
All tied up.
Little zone right now. They show it usually, and then they go back to man out of timeouts.
And a turnover. 5 turnovers on the Cougars. Moments ago, more urgency. One of the things Kevin Young talked about was how during the season when they went through a really tough stretch, he wrote one thing on the board in red marker: find solutions. And that is the mentality that he brings constantly. Stop complaining and find solutions. Man, Curtis Jones is feeling it, and Iowa State with their first lead and a takeaway, and the Cyclones have it again.
Here's a hint. Find a solution for this guy.
Oh, and Jones. I mean, red hot. Timeout, BYU. Well, the microwave was forced to start here today, and he is as hot as it gets, Curtis Jones.
How about when you know your team needs you more than ever, you step up? That's big time.
Everything physical, everything physical, everything physical. That's the best that they got. Now we start to make our run. Let's go.
Well, you look at the physicality, and that is what Iowa State brings at the defensive end. BYU knows it. And Curtis Jones, holy cow, the offense.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. You talked about find a solution. They're going to have to figure out a way to slow this guy down. He's playing with extreme confidence right now.
It's a 9-0 Iowa State run. Keita tries to lob at Mag. Mag puts it on the floor. Possession arrow, and it belongs to BYU. I think Mag would have been better off just going straight up than taking it down.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And even Keita could have put it up on the rim and let Mag go chase it. One thing that helps Iowa State is the propensity for turnovers by BYU, and they're bringing that toughness right now. That's good contact right there.
Nell able to draw the contact, and Trevin Nell will go to the line, a 72% free throw shooter. More than that today with both Gilbert and, at least so far, Lipsey out.
John, watch this. This is a veteran. Nell gets the defender in the air, and he's going to just jump into him. Watch. As he head fakes, now he continues his shot because he knows there's going to be contact.
And Nell buries the free throws.
Can Curtis Jones keep this up?
He has scored 14 of the last 19 for Iowa State. Jones at the basket, off balance, and it'll go. There's at least one answer for you, Fran. Paul, tip, rims out. Heisey the rebound.
He's looking like Devin Booker, Kevin Young's favorite player. Look at this. Look at this. Are you watching? This is unbelievable.
Left side, Nell. And it'll fall. Trevin Nell quiets things down a tiny bit. He's got 11.
The beauty of this Iowa State offense right now is they've got Jefferson to be the playmaker, but they can always put it in Jones's hands.
Jefferson inside, kick out. Jones wide open. Holy cow.
This is historic, folks.
He's 8 of 11, 22 points, 6 for 8 from 3. That's off the mark and off the hands of Heisey. It remains with BYU.
I mean, watch the floater. Now that's what makes him such a good scorer. Different levels, off a ball screen in the dribble, and then somehow he's wide open. Too late, Mag, too late.
Iowa State has made 9 straight field goals. Jones with 22 points, the kid from Minneapolis, on fire. Out of bounds, Iowa State basketball.
I'll tell you what's happening quietly. Nate Heisey's bringing some toughness. They're without Lipsey's toughness, but Heisey is really battling the bigger guys on the glass.
David Lipsey out with that injured groin he suffered yesterday in the win over Cincinnati. The lead right now for Iowa State is 9. Mag kick up ahead. Boscovich. Boscovich off the mark. Heisey rebounds.
Heisey's getting his nose bloodied a little bit. I love it.
The double comes, and it's a turnover.
Oh,
and it'll stay with Iowa State. Kevin Young and Brett Smith. Brett Smith saying Iowa State basketball. Break in the action. Cyclones on top. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal.
Single Division I or Division II offer coming out of high school. Had to go to a JUCO, Indian Hills Community College, then to Buffalo, and now to Iowa State. Mom is in attendance today, comes to every game. See her son so far put up 22 points.
A rare miss right there for Curtis Jones. Cyclones leading it by 9. John Shambi, Fran Priscilla, and Chris Button. And Jones trying to take it away from Traore. And what do we got? And a foul. That'll be on Chatfield.
Yeah, a little extra contact by Chatfield. And this is a great young man who, as Chris said, had to go to junior college for a year. Played high school basketball in Minneapolis. Played with Trey Holloman, who just won a Big Ten title for Tom Izzo.
Pretty amazing when you consider what Chris mentioned. Out of high school, did not have a scholarship offer to a D1 school, then went to Buffalo, ultimately off of junior college. He averaged 2.5 points per game in the 21-22 season, and then the following year exploded to 15 points a game, and then ultimately found his way as a transfer to Iowa State. But you got to want it.
Do you know how many guys in Division I average 2.5 points a game? A lot. A lot. And for him to improve the way he has since his sophomore year at Buffalo 3.5 years ago is absolutely incredible.
Jefferson feeding inside, gets it to Jackson, and he had it blocked by Boscovich.
Kevin Young not happy right now with the officiating, but I think it's more about getting some stops.
And Momcilovic buries one. Iowa State knocking it down from 3. 10 for 17. That's to the corner. And a big 3 from Mihailo Boscovich.
John, what was the record BYU has when they score 80 or more?
18-1.
You know what? This game's going over 80.
It is. And there's a takeaway. Stewart up ahead. Traore the throwdown. And a timeout, Iowa State. 5-point game. Championships. You want 3-pointers? We got 3-pointers here at T-Mobile Center. Whoa.
And Trey Stewart, the designated defensive whiz, is now guarding Jones.
Jackson bullies his way into the basket, puts it up, and that rims off.
There's that 2-point guard look right now with Hall and Demon.
Where do you go offensively with Saunders not on the court? There's a shot blocked.
Oh, John, as long as they move the ball, they're going to get good shots, no question.
And that one taken away by Demon. Stewart off the kick from Demon. And that one rims in. It was in and out, and then it fell.
Not really his strength, but they'll take those bonus points. Trey Stewart only playing 6 minutes a game this year, but more down the stretch.
Jones fight for the loose ball. And the foul will be on Stewart and BYU. 1:28 to go. And the Cougars trailing by a couple. Yeah, it's good.
Kevin Young said midway through the season, one of my hardest playing guys on the team is Trey Stewart, and he's not getting any minutes. Once he and Mag went into the lineup, this became more of a two-way type of team. Offense, defense, he's showing it today.
Kevin Young said that the difference between NBA and college, at least in part, is how you get better in practice in college. In the NBA, it's in games, in film, and in walkthrough. Jefferson. And that'll fall. Joshua Jefferson. He's got 10.
I think if you're BYU, John, you stay the course. I would be surprised if Iowa State can keep up this offensive onslaught.
Inside, Traore is fouled, and he'll go to the line. Foose will shoot 2.
I think if you're Kevin Young at halftime, you say, guys, we weathered the storm. They're not going to keep shooting the way we shoot the 3 for 40 minutes, but we'll see.
4-point game, 56.8 seconds left in the first half. And Traore knocks down the first.
Had his whole career in the NBA.
When would you say that started to find its way to college?
Oh, like everything else, 5 years after it's common in the NBA, it trickles down to college because we all know each other. And many NBA coaches were former college coaches. They were obviously all college players.
So let's see if Iowa State looks to go 2 for 1. Cyclones leading it by 2. And some pressure from the Cougars. Mag on Heisey. And
Mag is slowing Heisey down, so I think I'm going to owe you lunch.
Momcilovic backing down. Milan Momcilovic hangs and hits.
That's the second time today he's taken a guard into the paint and patiently waited to be able to shoot over him.
He goes 6'8". And use the size. Milan Momcilovic with 10 points. The lead is 4, and Fran owes me lunch.
Happily.
Hall with Heisey on him. Stewart the screen. Hall goes to work. Inside, and it's blocked. Jamarian Watson, who had checked into the game, gets the rejection, and that is the way the first half comes to a close.
This is inspiring. 2 starters out, basically 2 all-league players, and everybody's picking up the slack, starting with Jones on offense, but Jamarian Watson getting involved.
Let's send it over. Chris Button with TJ Otzelberger.
Coach, how would you describe what Curtis Jones has given you in the first half?
Yeah, he's been tremendous. He's done such a great job getting to his spots. His teammates have been looking for him. Love the confidence he's playing with. We're going to continue to count on him.
With what BYU can do offensively, particularly from the outside, what's been the biggest challenge for you guys on defense?
You know, we've got to do a better job guarding the dribbles so they don't get the advantage downhill, and then they play the skip on the backside. That's where they're getting a lot of their shots. So if we do a better job guarding the bounce, communicating on the backside to get the shooters early, we can take them out of those rhythm threes.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Chris.
Second most points in a first half under TJ Otzelberger for Iowa State. The story, Curtis Jones, 22 first half points, including 6 of 9 from 3. We go to the studio. It's our halftime report. Kevin Connors, Sean Farnham, and Marcus Morris. Men's basketball championship. Iowa State coming back out onto the court, and there's the guy, Curtis Jones. At the break, the 5 seed leading the 4 seed. Iowa State 53, BYU 49. Welcome courtside, John Shambi and Fran Fraschilla. Chris Button will join us coming up. In TV parlance, they talk about teeing up the analysts. This one's really simple. Curtis Jones, go.
Excellent, excellent. I'll make it simple. 22 points in 5 minutes and 21 seconds of game time. Think about that. In a quarter of the first half, he scored 22 points. It looked like Iowa State was off to a slow start without 2 starters. Curtis Jones said, it's my time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you look at the highlights, it's been incredible. We take a look at our experts at work, brought to you by Principal, and Curtis Jones was the expert in the first half.
Every which way possible, John. And remember, this defense was designed to slow him down. They put 4 or 5 different defenders on him. It didn't matter. He was on fire, playing with confidence. And by the way, he was first team all Big 12 for a reason.
Inside and outside, Jones knocking down 6 3-pointers. And you look at the shot chart, yeah, on fire. And Iowa State leading this one at the break by 4, 22 points. Most he's had in a half, his career high earlier this year, 33 at Arizona State. Meanwhile, the BYU side, we check in with Chris Button.
When you give up 53 in the first half, the message at halftime is usually about the defense wanting to tighten things up for Kevin Young. He said, we've been playing at 30 and 40 feet. It's allowed them to be able to hit from the outside. We got to be able to meet them at the half court.
Fran, do you anticipate them doubling Curtis Jones?
I could see it. Yep. Kevin is an NBA-type coach. When a superstar goes off in the NBA, you throw 2 guys at him. I'm going to really be interested to see how they guard him.
102 combined first half points. Amazing.
Uh-oh.
And Jones thought about it. Gets inside, dribbling, off-balance shot. Wow.
He's still thinking about it. I think you may have to double him, honestly. Kevin Young told us before the game one of his favorite players to coach was Devin Booker with the Suns. And right now, Curtis Jones is giving you a reasonable facsimile of that.
Loose ball, and eventually Joshua Jefferson comes away with it. Heisey at the basket. Saunders, it's off of Richie Saunders. And it remains Iowa State basketball. Back to Curtis Jones.
Watch this. Watch him take away the three-point line so he just gets into the high paint, and that's a tough shot. That's not easy, twisting his body like that.
Last season averaged 11 points a game. This year at 17 a game. And Jones kick out. Momcilovic swings to Heisey, and they turn it over. And BYU turns it right back over. Inside, Jackson going to work, and one! Deshaun Jackson.
I'm telling you, he gives you a different dimension in the last part of the season. I had a frank conversation with TJ Otzelberger a couple weeks ago, and he said, we got to get Deshaun to play harder, to use that physicality, and we've seen that in the last 2 weeks.
You know, between Jefferson and Jackson, we mentioned to call them the presidents, and these two guys are big, wide body bangers. They take up a lot of space, and they use their physicality to their advantage to create angles and ward off defenders.
Oh, without a question. Shooter.
Nell, top of the key, got it.
Can't leave him open. I'm going to tell you, John, I just don't see Iowa State staying this hot the rest of the game. And if they do, it'll be amazing. But BYU keeps themselves in the game because they can score like they breathe.
Jones, catch, and hits.
Got to double him. Kevin Young is thinking about that right now. You better have a secondary defense to cover this guy.
Lob. And that one off the hands of Keita, and eventually Jones will try again. And this time it's off the mark.
Well, we'll give you one heat check, because that was definitely a four-pointer.
Saunders up and under. He wanted the foul.
Now Richie's got to play through that. This is the Big 12 tournament.
Fred, I would like to speak for the entire viewing audience when I say we will give him more than one heat check. Momcilovic backing down inside and puts it home. Really smart play. You talked about it earlier.
Yep, and he's not hesitating. I'll tell you, his confidence in the last month has grown since he came back from that wrist injury.
Saunders, a little bit strong. Jones pulls down the miss. Iowa State leading by 8. No Tamin Lipsey has not played in this game. No Keshon Gilbert has not played in this game. Jefferson hangs, can't hit. Jackson fighting for it. Out of bounds, and it's BYU basketball.
Now this is a great little play. That's the Stojakovic move. He sets a back screen first, and then he comes off the screen. And Milan, we joke about him looking like Larry Bird because of the form, but he's been murdered today, posting up and hitting that turnaround jump shot.
And it's not where we normally see him do work. It's usually a little further outside, but he's noticed mismatched size advantages, and he's taken advantage. Saunders flips it up. Keita off the glass and in. Jones with Mag on it. Nell intercepts the pass. 2-on-1. And what does Brooks Wells have? Wave it off. It'll go the other way. Offensive foul.
Kevin Young doesn't think that Jones was legal. He's got to have 2 feet on the ground before the upward movement. That's close. I think that's a block. I think he was never set, and I think Kevin Young's got a good argument right there. It's a good crew. They're going to miss a few, just like we miss a few.
Kip Kissinger, Brent Smith, Brooks Wells are officiating crew. Feed inside, Chatfield, score it.
I'm going to tell you, John, I've said it about 5 times this season. Joshua Jefferson, I keep using the George Niang analogy because he's a playmaking power forward, and he showed you that right there.
Jones getting a quick breather. I'll tell you, the other thing is he's brought the ball up the court some. It takes a little bit of the burden off of Jones to not have to handle the ball every second.
100%, no question.
Jefferson with 6 assists in this game. Tamin, and that one actually was off of Heisey's leg, out of bounds And it'll be BYU basketball when we come back. Short-handed Iowa State team. No Keshon, Gilbert, and so far no Tamin, Lipsey.
I think once you see BYU get a bucket, you're going to see Jones right back in. That's money.
Saunders and Traore.
Booth with a good job. He worked on the backside. You usually know that shot's going to come off backside. He was in perfect position. Got a mismatch. Chatfield wasn't ready.
He did not have his hands ready for the pass, and Jefferson has already got 6 assists. It ends up being a turnover. Saunders inside. Little short. And the rebound and the putback wouldn't go. Dawson Baker point blank, and he couldn't get it to go. Jefferson spinning and hitting. Joshua Jefferson with a dozen.
You know what you like about this Iowa State team is they know they're shorthanded. So Jones, Momcilovic, and Jefferson have all stepped up their games. And even Kelderman has stepped up his game today.
Traore on Chatfield. To the corner. And that three will go. It's Dallin Hall. He's 37% from 3, but his first 3 points of the day.
This is such a veteran team. A lot of these guys in their early mid-20s, they've done the Mormon missions. They're mature. They're not going to be rattled.
Momcilovic hangs and hits. And again, backing down against Saunders is just too small for him.
John, have you seen him play this well? I haven't.
He's just diagnosed every time he's come down and gotten the ball and made good decisions. Traore looking for some help. And they get a foul as Saunders takes the contact. Looks like Curtis Jones about to check in. And speaking of that, let's check in with Chris Budden.
Yeah, I talked to his mom just briefly ago about, have you ever seen a performance like this growing up? And she said, yeah, in high school there would be days where he just got hot and wouldn't miss anything. She said, but he struggled with confidence in high school. When he was a freshman, he was just 5'8", and she said, we didn't know if he was really going to grow. We switched high schools, and by the next year was 6'2". She remembers he hit a three-pointer to send his team to the state championship game, and they all thought this is the moment when all the offers are going to come in, and then they never did. She said the amount of repetition, the work, the muscle that he's gained at Iowa State is what's helped his confidence lately.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Hall swings it. Stewart. Loose ball, and Iowa State comes up with it. Jefferson pushing it ahead. Jefferson all the way. Look out, big fella. Baker to the corner. Stewart got it.
How about that?
They needed that.
Yeah, that's 2 today for Stewart.
And Curtis Jones back in there. Iowa State leading by 6. Inside, Jackson off the glass and in.
Now what's happening is when you double team Jones, it's becoming 4-on-3. And Cyclones taking advantage of it.
Hall, that's a 3, and that'll go. Their 14th 3 of the game, and yet they still trail it by 5.
Zone, 2-3 zone. They're going to try to slow Iowa State down with a different pitch. Fastball hasn't been working. That's not a good shot.
Kelderman off the mark.
Too quick.
Ball inside, and Traore knocks it down. And they're within 3.
I like the change of defense. They've been hitting the fastball out of the park, so now they're going to go with the off-speed stuff.
Good hands. There's Stewart. And a foul on Jefferson. And it's our under 12 timeout. BYU within 3 as they continue to knock down the triples.
Dallin Hall coming off the bench this year.
Back in Kansas City, John Shambi, Frank Fraschilla, and Chris Button. And yeah, record-watching effect for the Big 12 championship. 141 combined points already, the tournament record, 180 in regulation. And then they've already knocked down 25 combined three-pointers. The tournament record's 27. Got a pretty good idea that one's going down. And then Curtis Jones with 27 points. His career high is 33 earlier this year. A brilliant performance at Arizona State. So stay tuned.
I think this high pace favors BYU, John. I said it earlier. Without Lipsey and Gilbert, I'd be surprised if the Cyclones can keep this up.
Ball to the corner. Boscovich buries it.
Well, TJ Otzelberger told Chris at halftime, if you can't guard the dribble and they get to the paint, it's going to open up the backside. It's a perfect example.
Tied up at 72 as Heisey can't hit. BYU on the move. Hall has it. Traore looking for some help. Shot clock is under 10. Hall, good look inside, but the shot's rejected.
Stewart on Jones. That's why he's out there.
Jones, little floater, wouldn't fall. So we've seen him hit that shot before. Stewart will try. In and out. Traore offensive rebound. And it's ripped away by Jackson. They'll go possession arrow. It belongs to BYU.
Let's watch the baseline drive now. When that ball goes baseline, you see those crimson jerseys into the paint, and that opens up Boscovich on the backside. A concern of TJ Otzelberger's when you play BYU.
And again, the corner three is something that they are really good at and really like today. 8 for 11 from the corner and the three-point line. Baker draws the contact. And that foul will be on Nate Heisey. That's his second.
Well, so far, John, it's been a heroic performance for Iowa State, shorthanded. But remember, they took Houston to the wire in Houston without 2 starters.
Left side, Boscovich. And Momcilovic pulls down the rebound. Here comes Jones. No Lipsey and no Gilbert here today for the Cyclones.
Here he goes.
Momcilovic. And he draws the contact as Hall was sneaking in. I don't know who they got the foul on. Did they get it on Hall or on Boscovich?
I think it was Boscovich, because Hall was coming, to your point, to take away the spin. Watch this. Watch him.
It was actually on Baker they got
yep.
the foul. Yep. That one tipped away. It's a steal. BYU a chance to take the lead. Boscovich buries it. First lead since they were on top, 32-29. And they trailed by as many as 10. It's an 11-0 BYU run.
Boscovich from Europe. He's a junior because of his age.
To the corner, and Heisey. He hits. Nate Heisey answers. Timeout, Iowa State. $75 apiece, 9:18 to go. So BYU knocking it down.
John, I mentioned Boscovich. He's a junior. He arrived in September. A Serbian youngster who played professionally over there. A couple of years ago, he was the MVP of the European Under-20 Championship. You can see very mature. Of course, he's 22, so he should be.
Ball to the corner. Stewart swings it. Boscovich lost it out of bounds, and it'll stay with BYU. 8 on the shot clock, and now Brett Smith and Brooks Wells will change the call.
And it looks like Kip Kissinger from our side went in, and good teamwork. We told you they're going to miss a few, but we miss a few, the players miss a few, the coaches miss a few.
75 apiece.
And this is that, they're in a matchup zone right now.
Inside, Jefferson couldn't hit. And they get a foul. That'll be on Dallin Hall.
It was a missed shot, but Jefferson was fighting for the ball, and Hall just warded him off.
4th team foul on BYU. Stewart will grab a seat. The foul on Hall, that's his first. They get it into Jones, will try. And that's off the mark. Ball goes baseline. Baker kick out. Saunders got it.
That's that penetration. If you don't keep the ball from getting into the paint off the dribble, you're going to give up those shots.
Saunders with a dozen. It's a 14-3 BYU lead.
And this zone has really slowed down the Cyclones.
Jones steps aside and misses that 3. So he's cooled off. Jefferson, active hands.
It's so counterintuitive in basketball, John. When you switch to the zone, it sometimes affects a guy who's a great shooter. You wouldn't think that, but it does.
Lots of emotion here in Kansas City. The three-point shot has been huge as the teams have combined for 29 of them. 9 threes. And BYU with 17 made three-pointers.
Well, this will matter, John. Heisey and Jefferson with 3 fouls each as the shorthanded Cyclones play the last 8 minutes.
Lob inside, and Keita knocks it down.
That zone again, that's probably been the biggest differentiator in slowing down the Cyclones, is changing that defense.
Heisey will try and hit. Nate Heisey with 6. He's buried a couple of big threes. 2-point game. Baker with the ball, calls Keita out, and they get the foul on Jones. That's his 3rd.
When you're BYU and you're such a good shooting team, the defense has to react. And you see Jackson stays out too long, and it allows Keita to get behind. And then Heisey has played with great confidence lately. And early in the year, John, he wouldn't even look at the basket. He was allergic to shooting and much, much more aggressive.
That one actually, Jones deflected it and off of Brett Smith, who was standing out of bounds. And so it'll be BYU basketball. 7 to go, 15 of the shot clock, and it's a 2-point Cougar advantage. John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, and Chris Button from T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Quarterfinal number 1. Boscovich, a little short on that shot. And eventually the loose ball ends up with Iowa State. Momcilovic went down hard in the corner.
Great save by Milan. I need a timeout here.
Jefferson gets it to Momcilovic. Shot clock under 10. Lost the handle.
Got it.
Oh, he gets it to go. Milan Momcilovic.
But that.
The basket will count, and they get the foul on Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, this is a piece of artwork right here. Look at this. Watch the footwork. Just gets it up on the rim, and he's got that soft touch already. Puts it to use.
Lob there.
This kid's such a great athlete, John. We haven't seen high-flying dunks from him. He played last year at Utah. He's one of the best athletes in the Big 12, Kata.
He is chiseled. Possession arrow, it belongs to Iowa State.
Question is, was there possession by BYU? I don't think so. Clock will not reset, I don't believe.
So Momcilovic will inbound, and the clock does reset.
Yes, they adjudicated it as those BYU had possession also.
Momcilovic from deep, off the mark. K to the rebound. BYU by a couple. Under 6 to go. A thoroughly entertaining game here in Kansas City. And now Saunders. Shot clock is under 10. Saunders going to work and gets fouled. And that foul will be on Deshaun Jackson. That's his third. And it'll be team foul number 7. And so Saunders will go to the line. Richie, an 80% free throw shooter.
I would say on the day, the Cyclones have done a good job of guarding Richie Saunders today.
And that one rattles home. A reminder, Selection Sunday coming at you, 6 Eastern, SportsCenter on ESPN. Reese and the fellas will look at the men's field of 68. The brackets being announced, then bracketology with breakdowns of each region. And 8th, the women's field is revealed. Coverage continues on ESPN2 with bracketology and a complete breakdown. Saunders hits them both, BYU by 4. How about Curtis Jones? He scored the first 5 of the half for Iowa State. He hasn't scored since the 18-24 mark. That one knocked away. Boscovich. And he was on the baseline, out of bounds. It's Iowa State basketball.
That's a break for the Cyclones. And John, I'll go back and tell you, I think when they switch the defense to the zone, you'll see Boscovich right there out of bounds. And I believe they're staying in the zone. A timeout.
Timeout on the court, 5:10 to go. It's a 4-point game. TJ Otzelberger, his team was down early and then got that flurry of points from Curtis Jones, who had 22 in the first half. Right now they trail it by 4. They are the defending champs in this tourney. And for BYU, this is their first year in the Big 12. They landed as a 4 seed or down, but trying to gut it through. And right now an 84-80 game with 5:10 to go. And Heisey gets it to Kelderman.
We talked about BYU. What did you say, 18-1 when they score 80?
Yep.
And they're at that number now, and this is a guy that has to be a hero.
And Jones with 2, and he's got 29. What great work by BYU this year, securing the 4 seed, just their 2nd year in the league as Saunders is fouled.
Well, I think BYU went man-to-man here. Once they got the ball in, and watch Stewart, that's his job, is to keep Jones in front of him. And Curtis has an array of offensive gifts. It's not just a deep ball. But that mid-range floater is like having a knuckleball as your third pitch.
Saunders knocks down the first. BYU by 3. Jackson will check back in. Heisey will grab a seat. BYU perfect from the line, 10 for 10. And make it 11 for 11. The lead is back at 4.
And BYU back to that man-to-man we talked about, switching up.
With Stewart on Jones. Stewart, tough defender. And Jefferson with Saunders on him. That one slapped away. Kelderman, Momcilovic, catch and shoot. And eventually Keita pulls down the rebound. And Boskovic a little out of control, and he got bailed out by the foul. And it'll be on Milan Momcilovic.
What I did like about this, John, when you're attacking in the open court, it's really hard for a defender to get set. And Boskovic was the guy that initiated the contact, and if the defender's not legal, he's going to shoot some free throws.
I tried that Euro step, got contacted, and the feet went out from underneath him. Mihajlo Boskovic.
And I mentioned he's not your typical newcomer, because at 22 years old, they list him as a junior. He's got a lot of international experience.
Jones swoops in for the rebound. Iowa State down 5 and close in on 4 to go. Quarterfinal number 1 in Kansas City still to come. The 1 seed Houston taking on Colorado. Jackson going to work, and they get the foul on Keita. No, it's going to be on Jackson. No, it's going to be on Keita.
And it's only the 5th foul, so there's no free throws.
How about Iowa State shooting 59% from the floor, and they're trailing? And we talked at the onset of this game about BYU's depth. They'll play 10, 11 guys. They've got 40 points from their bench. And in this one, 17 points, or 17 three-pointers knocked down. Let's check in with Chris Button.
Yeah, we heard TJ Otzelberger in that Iowa State huddle throughout the game saying, I want more physical offense. It was that same message. You got to crash the boards, drive the other end, go downhill, and make sure you try and pick up contact.
Cyclones doing it today without Keshon Gilbert, without Tamin Lipsey. Those two seated next to one another. Lipsey we thought might give it a go, but instead saw him with the heating pad on that groin early on, but never came off the bench. Jones being harassed. Jones, a triple. In and out. Offensive rebound. And the bucket for Deshaun Jackson.
Good toughness by Jackson. Jones shot a soft ball that allowed Jackson to get inside.
Good crowd here today at T-Mobile Center.
Well, Iowa State goes zone, but usually it's one pass and back to man. Let's see if they stay actually in the zone. It's man.
And Kevin Young calls timeout. Seed. Iowa State is the higher ranked team at 12th in the country. BYU ranked 17th. Richie Saunders here. Saunders to Stewart. Shot clock winding down. Saunders. And he draws the contact. I think they got Jefferson. Nope, it was Heisey. And that is 5 on Nate Heisey.
What I liked about that from Kevin Young is he picked a mismatch. When I say mismatch, he knew Heisey had 4. And that foul's actually on. That's not on Heisey. That foul should have been on Jackson, in my opinion. I think that foul was on Jackson. But what I did like that Kevin Young did is he knew Heisey had 4, and he just targeted him and went right at him with Saunders. Tough matchup.
So Saunders knocks it down. Kate Kelderman checking back in. Kelderman forced to play big minutes in this one, as he's played more minutes in this game than the previous 6 combined. A season high, almost 16 minutes. Well, they're going to get something from Curtis Jones, I think, down the stretch if Iowa State is going to pull off this win. Jackson. Shot clock under 10. Jackson backing down, gets a piece of the paint. Goes with the left hand. Soft touch, wouldn't fall. And Keita pulls down the rebound. And that's a big possession.
You see him get that rebound above the rim. That's the second or third one in the second half.
Okay, but Keita with that rebound, he's got 10 of them. Ball kick out, Boscovich, a little bit strong. And that one tipped out, Kelderman pulls it away. And Iowa State into the front court, down by 5.
I think you got to give Jefferson room to drive it or post it. I don't think they can guard Jefferson inside.
Momcilovic up and under and puts it in. Milan Momcilovic with 18. Everybody on their feet.
They're showing zone again, but they usually don't stay in it.
To the corner, Stewart. Tipped out, Momcilovic comes away with it. Cyclones down by 3, 90 seconds to go in quarterfinal number 1.
A big little pick and roll right here.
Jones going to work. Jones inside and draws the foul. Curtis Jones with 29 had that first half flurry where he scored 22 points.
Well, he just draws the contact right here. We've seen it in this tournament. Good offensive players don't bail out. They go into the defense. And with a little bit of contact, he's going to get a chance to shoot 2.
84% free throw shooter. Gilbert and Lipsey, neither have played today. You see Gilbert in sweatsuit. Lipsey, it looked like they were going to try to have him go, but he never came off the bench. Meanwhile, for Jones, he has starred today. 30 points for the kid from Minneapolis, making 31, 2 off his career high, and Iowa State within 1. How about this atmosphere? Paul lost it for a second. Nell to the corner. Hall, kick out Saunders. Got it! Richie Saunders, a huge 3. And it's BYU by 4. Their best player knocks down a shot in the biggest moment. It's something their team does well. It's something that Saunders does very well.
No question. And now in the timeout, offense, defense, Trey Stewart has done an underrated job on slowing down Curtis Jones, and he's back in the game.
Don't need a 3, you're down 4. Just a good, quick look at it. Momcilovic, ball fake, shot blocked. Huge block right there. And now Saunders up ahead, Keita, and he's fouled hard.
A great shot fake by Momcilovic. He kept his feet on the 3-point line. But watch Richie Saunders all ball at the top of that release.
So for Saunders, who has scored 9 of their last 10, maybe his biggest play at the defensive end, as Keita not able to hit the free throw, a 38% free throw shooter.
You know, that can be good news for BYU sometimes, because bad shooters shoot balls that come off funny. So you got to block out here.
He gets the second, and the lead is 5 for the Cougars. Jones up ahead. Jones with Stewart on him. That's a 3. And a loose ball. Kelderman trying to track it down. And they turn it over, and it'll be BYU basketball.
Great hustle by Kelderman. He was just looking for a bailout, and it was a pass that looked like it surprised Jefferson.
Well, we talk about it being Hilton South so often. This is kind of Provo Midwest, right?
These BYU fans are all over the country.
No doubt. They get it in, and there's the foul. And Dallin Hall will go down to the other end.
And I've got two observations here, John. Number one, if Tamin Lipsey is not seriously hurt, this Iowa State team will get a chance, if they don't come back, to regroup and get rest over the weekend, and they're deeper. Now, I don't think Gilbert's going to come back at the same level he was. They don't need him unless he's in a spot role, but they do need Lipsey back, and they've got a lot of offensive depth.
Hall misses that one. Look out, 67% from the free throw line. And Trevino said, don't worry about the air ball. 5-point advantage. And the Cougars 17.1 seconds away from advancing to the semifinals. And they would await the winner of Colorado at Houston. That is our next matchup. Jones gets it in. Iowa State down 6. Jones up and under. Couldn't spin it home. Jackson puts it in. And timeout Iowa State. They're down by 4. 7.9 seconds left.
Jones probably needed to shoot a 3 here with that kind of time on the clock. But they do get the 2 points and a chance to set this defense up. I got to tell you, John, I'm a BYU fan. I have been all year. I love the way they play. Give Iowa State a lot of credit today. They showed why they have that Otzelberger toughness. They battled a really good BYU team all day long.
I'm going to give you some credit. You go back. I was, bored and going through your Twitter account. I went back to September in the @FranFraschilla X account, and I found an old tweet from you, and you said this: I have no idea how good BYU will be, but in the best league in the country this year, they're an absolute wild card, and they have proven you absolutely correct. Follow FranFraschilla @FranFraschilla, by the way.
But I don't spend a lot of time on social media.
No, not at all.
But, listen, they had a lot of veterans back. They have a couple precocious young players. We haven't even seen Cannon Catchings, who will be a first-round pick someday. Tamika's nephew. Demon's been quiet. But I think the bottom line with this team, not only are they well coached, they go 11 deep.
Yeah.
And they've got different players for different roles. Stewart did a really good job of slowing down Curtis Jones in the second half.
Their defense, as the year has gone on, has improved. I think by Ken Palm, they're moved into the 50s in defensive efficiency.
And offensively, to tag along that, they're 12th coming into today.
Saunders is fouled by Kelderman. The win yesterday and setting up that matchup.
There has never been a 16 seed in college basketball D1 level make it to the quarterfinals. Now, one of the reasons is there's not been a lot of 16 seeds in the league.
Right.
But kudos to Colorado, who've won 3 in a row now.
Kelderman at the basket. And that one is put in by Jackson. And that is going to do it. Great work by BYU as they come back and stave off a great effort from Curtis Jones in Iowa State. Kevin Young and the Cougars advancing to the semifinals. They won it 96-92. And BYU awaits the winner of Houston